Open the court, please.
All persons have business before this honourable court are commanded to give their attendance and they shall be heard. Be seated, please.
Applications for the admission of lawyers. Ms. Nicola Jane Louise Thompson Donnelly.
If the court pleases, I appear to move that Nicola Jane Louise Thompson Donnelly be admitted to the legal profession as an Australian lawyer and as an officer of the Honourable Court, and I so move on the certificate and recommendation of the Admissions Board.
Is Ms. Thompson Donnelly in court?
Mr. Andrew. The candidates will now take their oath or affirmation of office. Ladies and gentlemen in the public galleries are reminded to remain seated during this time. Ladies and gentlemen being sworn, as I call your name, please stand and remain standing. Mr. Stavros, Ms. Thompson Donnelly, Mr. Topafovich, Ms. Vitiello, and Ms. Vong. I now ask you to take the oath of office. Please hold your religious text in your uplifted right hand. You and each of you swear by Almighty God that you will well and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of your profession as members of the legal profession and officers of this honourable court to the best of your knowledge and ability. Beginning with you, Mrs. Ames, please repeat in turn, I swear by Almighty God to do so. Thank you. Please resume your seats.
The court acknowledges the traditional owners of the land where the court sits today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present. The court is formally satisfied that each applicant has met the requirements for admission. An order will be made for each applicant to be appointed an Australian lawyer and an officer of the Supreme Court of Victoria. Today is all about you and your families. It's a very special day for each of you. Our congratulations go to each of you as you will leave the court as an Australian lawyer. Achievements like this deserve celebration and reflection on what it means to be a lawyer. Indeed, it's a great privilege for me to preside over your admission ceremony. It gives me a small window into the shape and composition of the newest part of the legal profession, at least so far as I can tell from looking at you and listening to you say a very few words. You each play a part in the evolution of the profession, and it's an important role that you have. So with that in mind, I'm going to take the opportunity today, while I have your undivided attention, to share with you some of the things that I think might assist you. First, be responsive, manage your time, and most importantly, not only as a lawyer but in life, be a problem solver, not a problem creator. So far as a lawyer is concerned, you have to know both the facts and the law. At least during your education for law, you probably concentrated on the written law and the judge-made law, but there's a lot more to being a lawyer than just that. Second, I can't stress enough the importance of having good mentors. So I'd urge each of you to try to find good mentors if you don't already have them. The mentoring relationships that grow organically can be very beneficial, but it's not always possible to find mentors in that way. If you can't, then there are plenty of programs around that will pair new lawyers with mentors. Sometimes they'll be in your own workplace, but sometimes you have to look beyond that. And please don't assume that the only mentor who can be a good mentor for you is one who is of the same gender. Next, as a new practitioner, I'd encourage you to take on a broad range of work. That may not be possible through your paid employment, but a great way to experience different types of work is to take on some pro bono work. And not only that, but it means that you can make a real contribution to the community in your work as a lawyer. There are endless possibilities for volunteering, so don't be shy about getting involved. And don't forget that you can have a career as a lawyer beyond Melbourne. The Supreme Court sits in regional cities on circuit throughout the year. When we visit those cities, we see how much good work is done by lawyers who live locally. Throughout your career, you may be given opportunities to take on new work or new roles. Don't be afraid to say yes. You may be very surprised at where some of the opportunities will take you, both professionally and personally. Don't second guess yourself. If someone's offering you an opportunity, they clearly think you're up to the task. One of the things that I'm passionate about is health and well-being. On Friday, I'll be delivering the keynote address at the Wellness for Law Forum. The theme for the forum is making wellness core business. I couldn't agree more that that's an important aim for all of our community, which includes the legal community. So my final suggestion to you today is to look after yourself, because your physical and mental health is critical. If you're not well, it affects not just you, but those that are around you, including family, friends, and clients. And there is help if you need it, and you shouldn't be ashamed or afraid to ask for it. Most importantly, if you aim to have a balanced life, that will put you in a good place. Now, I know that some of you think, lawyer, balanced life, not really sure that that can be achieved, but it can. So there will be busy times, but that's not the norm. That's not what it has to be forever. And if you're only focused on your work, you're going to be a very boring person. And that's not good for you, and it's not good for the community, and it's certainly not good for your family and friends. So, one of the things that goes a long way in this space is to keep a sense of humour, even when things look pretty grim. A good laugh is good for you. Now, I want to break in here and say a few words about a Supreme Court initiative. In the next week or so, maybe a bit longer, the court will be releasing a podcast. It's called Gertie's Law. Gertie is the statue of Justitia that sits at the front of the building up the top in Lonsdale Street. We're not quite sure how the statue got that name, but the podcast will be called Gertie's Law. Each of the podcast episodes explains or unravels lesser known, misunderstood, or complex parts of how the court works. As Chief Justice, I am very keen for the court to communicate with the community about the important work that is done by this court, by the lawyers who come into this court, all for the benefit of the community. So you might think you know about this court, and you might think you know it well, but how well do you really know it? And that's something that Gertie's Law will help to educate you about. because I'm sure, looking around, all of you sitting in there, you're of an age, most of you, who will be entertained, hopefully, but also informed by a podcast. As I said at the start of today, it's a very special day, not only for each of you, but also for your family and your friends. They're undoubtedly all very proud of each of you, and I'm sure that the feeling's mutual, and that you would wish me to thank every one of them on your behalf for the support and the love that they've given you along the way to reaching this milestone. And then there are those who aren't in the courtroom. There are those that have helped to educate you, whether that's at school, at university, or in the workplace. Never forget that you wouldn't be here if it were not for the contribution of many others to you and to your career development. So make the most of today, because in my experience, milestones like this don't come along all that frequently. And it's important to celebrate achievements. It's important to celebrate the achievement of being an Australian lawyer. And you've done that now partly through this formal court ceremony. Next, you'll go outside into the court precincts, take fabulous photos, as I often say in these ceremonies. You'll be stuck with them for life because they'll be electronic. And you'll look back and you'll laugh at your hairstyles and you'll laugh at your clothes and you'll laugh at a lot of things, but that's a good thing. And then hopefully later in the day you'll get an opportunity to celebrate away from the court and its precincts. I hope that whatever you choose to do, you enjoy it. Most importantly, I trust that those of you who choose to remain in the legal profession will find it a fulfilling profession, if at times challenging. My colleagues and I, sitting on the bench today, extend our warmest congratulations to each of you as the newest Australian lawyers. We wish you all the very best for the life that lies ahead of you. Adjourn the court.
Silence, all stand please. This honourable court stand adjourned.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? New lawyers, please take your seats. We will shortly direct you to sign the roll. It's very important that you stay in your current order. Counsel and guests, thank you for your attendance. Please exit the courtroom and proceed to the Supreme Court courtyard, where the new lawyers will be exiting shortly and where you'll be able to take photographs. Thank you.